Welcome to Star Watch Now, your front row seat to all the hottest gossip, drama, and breaking news from the world of entertainment. If it's trending, shocking, or star-studded, we're covering it. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's coming next. A classic that defined a generation. A city that never sleeps. 3 headline stars under the brightest lights. If new Shanghai Bund only trades on nostalgia, it will vanish as quickly as a trending tag. But if the team dares to cut deeper into power, loyalty, and love, it could become the benchmark remake of the decade. Tonight on Star Watch Now, we ask the question that matters. Is this hype or reinvention with a beating heart? What draws a global audience to this project is not simply the promise of famous faces or a polished remake. It is the convergence of memory, myth, and modern craft. The original Shanghai Bund lives in our collective imagination as a tale of longing and consequence set against a city that seemed to breathe with its characters. A new adaptation speaks to that memory while inviting us to see the same streets through sharper lenses and more searching eyes. For viewers from New York to Seoul, Tokyo to Paris, the appeal is universal. Power tested by love, loyalty strained by ambition, and individuals attempting to stay human in systems that reward the opposite. Star power matters because it focuses attention. Xiao Zhan, Wang Yibo, and Yang Zi arrive with distinct energies and devoted communities. But the deeper hook is what they might reveal when those energies collide. If Su Wenxiang's restraint cracks, if Ding Li's ruthlessness shows a human seam, if Feng Chengqing's desire becomes agency rather than ornament, we witness archetypes evolve into people. That transformation travels across languages more easily than any slogan. There is also the magnetism of place. 1930s Shanghai is not merely a backdrop. It is a living argument about modernity, glamour, and danger. When production design and cinematography honor that tension, the city becomes a second protagonist whose light seduces and whose shadows cost dearly. Finally, audiences respond to sincerity. In an era of content abundance, craft is how we tell a necessary story from a convenient one. If this film trusts silence as much as spectacle, and choice as much as plot, it will resonate beyond fandoms and release windows, reminding us that classics endure not because we repeat them, but because we find in them new ways to tell the truth. To view this remake through the Ang Lee lens is to accept a quiet but exacting creed. Image exists to reveal feeling, never to disguise its absence. The temptation with a storied title and lavish budget is to gild the surface. Period costumes tailored to perfection, rain-slicked streets shimmering with neon, a camera that glides like a dancer. Yet none of it matters unless the frame is answering a human question. Ang Lee's best work teaches that narrative power resides in what a character cannot say, and in how the world around them betrays that silence. A held close-up that refuses to cut away, a pause in the score that lets breath become thunder, a composition that leaves one figure slightly off-center so we register their exile before they do. These are not flourishes but arguments about truth. Applied to new Shanghai Bund, the principle demands that every aesthetic decision bear emotional freight. The weight of a coat shrugged on before a betrayal, the geometry of a dining table that turns kin into factions, the color shift that tracks the erosion of innocence. Story before surface means structure that tests conviction, not just plot that produces events. It asks for scenes that change what the characters can live with, rather than merely rearranging alliances. It privileges motif over spectacle, cause over coincidence, consequence over twist. If this production chooses restraint where noise is easier, and lets action grow from character rather than character be bent to action, the city will feel less like a set and more like a conscience. Then the camera does not decorate. It listens. The light does not flatter. It confesses. And the remake stops being a replica and becomes a revelation of why the tale needed telling now. Casting chemistry is not a matter of assembling 3 famous names and hoping their wattage will converge. It is the art of calibrating temperaments so that each presence sharpens the other, and the space between them becomes charged with possibility. Imagine Xiao Zhan's Su Wenxiang as a study in contained force, the man whose courtesy is a sheath for conviction. His power should not roar. It should accumulate, one measured glance at a time, until choices feel inevitable. Set against him, Wang Yibo's Ding Li is a blade that thinks. Ruthlessness is the surface grammar, but the compelling version is a strategist whose hunger is legible in the stillness before he moves. The interest lies in the seam of hesitation, the fractional delay that hints at cost. Between these vectors stands Yang Zi's Feng Chengqing, not as an ornament or prize, but as a center of gravity. A woman who redefines the terms of alliance with intelligence and will. Her scenes must change outcomes, not merely moods. When she accepts, resists, or reframes a proposition, the room should tilt. True chemistry emerges when each actor protects the integrity of their character while leaving edges that invite collision. Su Wenxiang's restraint pressed to breaking by loyalty's price. Ding Li's calculation disrupted by a feeling he cannot efficiently resolve. Feng Chengqing recognizing that love, survival, and principle cannot always sit at the same table. The triangle becomes a living instrument, melody, harmony, and dissonance, capable of tenderness and threat in a single beat. If the performances trust small gestures and earned silence, the air around them will thicken with intent. Then a look can function as a turning point, a half smile as a treaty, and a shared frame as a battlefield where no word is wasted and no choice is without consequence. To treat 1930s Shanghai as a character is to acknowledge that the city speaks a language of light, distance, and pressure, and that its sentences are written in street plans, social codes, and the price of a single risk. The Bund sweep is not merely picturesque. It is a promise and a warning in the same line, inviting the ambitious to step closer while measuring them with cold water and stone. Alleyways hold private histories in their turns, jazz rooms translate desire into rhythm, and boardrooms turn courtesy into a weapon. If new Shanghai Bund reframes the city, it must allow space to act on people, not just surround them. Production design should tell the truth before anyone opens their mouth. The height of a doorway that forces a man to bow, the weight of a velvet curtain that delays an answer, a corridor that narrows until even power feels cornered. Color needs purpose, warmth that belongs to complicity, blues that refrigerate the conscience, so that a palette tracks the moral temperature of a scene. Sound should admit the world's interference. River horns that cut across a confession, a tram that rattles through resolve. The camera must learn the geography like a conscience, returning to bridges and stairwells as if to old arguments, revealing how the same place blesses and betrays different people. When the city is character, time becomes a pressure system. Curfews, deadlines, the slow movement of reputation. A handshake on Nanjing Road carries a different charge from a whisper in a tea house off Fuzhou Road, and the storytelling respects those gradients. Then Shanghai is not a backdrop but a living counterparty that negotiates with the characters, taxes their choices, rewards their cunning, and records their losses. The audience does not merely admire how it looks. They understand what it wants. Remakes lure us with memory. They win us with courage. The danger is a checklist of famous moments recreated shot for shot. The opportunity is a respectful pivot. New stakes that speak to today. The price of loyalty when information travels faster than trust. Sharper gray zones. Friends as rivals, rivals as mirrors. Pace with purpose. Tension that breathes without sagging, no filler, no sugar. A clever production will echo what we love, then tilt the angle by a few degrees so nostalgia feels like discovery. Bring this toolkit to your watch party. Character engine. Do key choices reveal who they are, not just move the plot? Visual grammar. Are camera moves motivated by feeling, push-ins at confession, wide frames at isolation? Sound and silence. Do crescendos feel earned? Do quiet beats ache? Production design. Can you read power from the room, desk heights, door frames, the distance between chairs? Editing rhythm. Are transitions purposeful, cutting on thought, not merely on action? If new Shanghai Bund passes this checklist, you'll sense it. Scenes that end a breath later than expected because the emotion needs that breath. The rooftop choice. Rain whispers on slate as two friends circle a choice that will unmake them. No guns, just words as slow knives. The mirror lesson. Ding Li teaches a lesson without touching the student. Reflection, menace, restraint. Power shown, not shouted. The velvet no. Feng Chengqing stops a room with a soft refusal that shifts alliances more than any threat could. The bridge after midnight. Su Wenxiang crosses alone, neon smeared by fog. A single line changes the next 20 minutes of story. These are types of scenes, no spoilers, no copyrighted material, yet they signal a production that trusts intelligence over noise. The fan economy can light the fuse, but only craft keeps the fire burning. A healthy success cycle looks like this. Careful writing, genuine emotion, word of mouth, staying power. If non-fans are still engaged after the first act or 2 episodes, the story is working. If conversation shifts from gossip to themes, betrayal, redemption, the cost of ambition, you've crossed from trend to testimony. Forget the first 24-hour spike. Watch for retention. Do viewers finish, not just start? Quotability. Lines that travel because they mean something. Character memory. Can audiences describe a choice, not just a costume? Rewatch value. Scenes dissected for blocking, eye lines, and subtext, signs of layered direction. This is how remakes earn a seat next to their originals, by becoming study material, not just weekend entertainment. Moral stakes that bruise. Choices that cost friendships, futures, and sleep. A city that judges. Spaces that reward power and punish doubt. Chemistry with consequences. Attraction that forces decisions, not just edits. Elegance under pressure. Directing that holds a shot half a second longer, long enough for truth to land. Deliver those and you do not merely honor Shanghai Bund. You extend it. 2 questions for our community across the Americas, Europe, and Asia Pacific. Which one element must never change from the spirit of the original? Which one element must absolutely change for today's audience? Comment below with 2 short lines, keep/change. We'll pin the sharpest takes and may feature them in our next analysis. Nostalgia is the open door. New truth is the reason to stay. If new Shanghai Bund trusts its characters, listens to its city, and lets craft lead the conversation, we might witness something rare. A remake that becomes a reference point. This video is an independent analysis by UpToText24H. We respect creators, audiences, and platforms by avoiding unlicensed footage and unverified claims. All opinions here are offered in good faith for discussion and appreciation of film craft. Thank you for spending your time with Star Watch Now. If this breakdown gave you a fresh lens, please subscribe, tap the notification bell, and share this video with a friend who loves Asian cinema. Before you go, drop your thoughts below.